Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order the 71st annual meeting and the first virtual annual meeting of Alaska USA Federal Credit Union. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum attended. I am Bobby Alexander, Chairman of the Board of Directors, and at this time I would like to welcome and thank each of you for your attendance. I would like to appoint Jessica Graham as parliamentarian and Lauren Moore as recording secretary. Let me introduce other members of your board of directors who are attending this meeting. We have Ron Lee, first vice chairman, Jerry Whacker, second vice chairman, Kent Bethune, secretary treasurer, Rich Holly, director, Lauren Skinner, director, and Ray Dean Turner, director. Members of the supervisor committee attending are Craig Wood, chairman, and Sarah Warrington. I would also like to introduce some members of the credit union's management staff. They have Jeff Flunfield, president and CEO, Wayne Bailey, executive vice president and chief experience officer, and John Cassidy, chief financial officer. The annual meeting agenda, report, and the last year's annual meeting minutes have been provided via the credit union's website. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? Unless there are objections, the minutes will be approved. Seeing no objections, the minutes are approved. At this time, I would like to ask Jeff Flunfield to make a few comments regarding the credit union's performance in 2019. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. We'll work on getting our presentation up here. I want to thank you all for attending the first virtual annual meeting of Alaska USA. Before I review a presentation of the financial and operating performance of 2019, I'd like to just take a moment and further acknowledge the pandemic situation we've been facing for more than 2 months and the life-altering changes that will affect members, employees, and our communities. By all accounts, 2019 was an amazing year for Alaska USA. The primary measurements of success for this not-for-profit financial cooperative are the quality and the value of the services we provide, as well as the financial health and strength of the organization as it continues to grow. Our mission is to provide quality financial services to members affordably, conveniently, and professionally. Our primary objective is the same as any other organization, for-profit or otherwise, and that's to maximize the value of the credit union to its members. In this case, these are the owners of the institution. We measure our success in this objective through 4 different things. The first being service, our value, the product and our price, our convenience, and our organizational durability. As it relates to service, each month we have an independent third party survey members that have recently conducted a transaction within a branch or through our call center and ask them to rate the service experience on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being poor, 5 being excellent. And we ask them a series of questions starting with whether the service they experienced was prompt, helpful, courteous, knowledgeable, professional, or what was their experience overall. And I'm proud to report that in 2019, you will see here on this table that we had a record year or an average service score of 4.40. The rest of the highlighted boxes on this table represent record periods, and you'll also note that we had 2 record months in February and March of 2019. As it relates to value transfer, this is the dollar benefit Alaska USA members receive in the pricing of Alaska USA services compared to competing banks in our same market areas. We rigorously do surveys each month on the pricing differentials between Alaska USA's pricing and those banks. We calculate then that differential by multiplying the difference in that pricing by the number of people at Alaska USA that have either paid that fee or didn't pay a fee or had that product or service. And I'm also proud to report in 2019 that the value transfer was a total of $122.8 million, or an average of $181 per each member. Seen here graphically, you can see the steady growth in the value transfer from 2003 at 28.6 million to finishing 2019 at 122.8 million. And while not a record, I am proud to report that a significant increase in dividends paid was achieved last year through superior pricing on our deposit products. And you can see here a record of 56.1 million in dividends paid on our deposit accounts. Our vision is to be the primary provider of financial services to Alaska USA members everywhere. And as we work to accomplish that, you can see our membership distribution in the 4 major states that we have branch locations. In Alaska, nearly 275,000 members. In Washington, nearly 168,000 members. Just over 100,000 members in California, and 50,000 members at year-end in Arizona. And distributed in other markets throughout the US and overseas, 84,700 members, for a total of nearly 680,000 members at year-end. To serve those members in those 4 primary markets that we have branches in Alaska, Arizona, and California, and as well as in Washington, we have a total of 52 different communities that we have branch locations or financial centers. These are distributed in 548 different types of service facilities, starting with 74 credit union branches, more than half of which are open 7 days a week, 440 ATMs that are either branded, owned, or operated by Alaska USA, 1 member service center distributed into 2 locations that works as 1 cohesive unit to provide 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year service to our members, 6 business and commercial service offices, 19 Alaska USA mortgage company offices, and 8 Alaska USA insurance brokered offices. We also offer free access to 5,600 plus shared branches, and at year-end, access to 55,000 surcharge-free all-point ATMs distributed in convenient locations throughout the US and overseas. For a statistical overview, you'll see here in 2019, membership ended the year again at 678,000 compared to the 664,000 at year-end 2018. Transactions, incredibly steady growth in transactions performed. And while loans granted, the number was down slightly from 2018. The dollars of loans granted grew from 2018. Improvement in loan delinquency and modest increase in the number of employees. In terms of breaking the transactions down into different types and the channels that members prefer to do business, you'll see here incredible growth in Ultra Branch mobile and PC transactions. This is our online banking platforms. Debit card and credit card utilization was up as well, while there was slight decreases in branch, call center, and touch-tone teller transactions. In terms of our income statement for the year, the highlights are that you can see growth in top-line revenue from 2018, modest growth in operating expenses, an increase in our cost of funds, primarily resulting from those increased dividend rates I was referring to earlier, for a total of income from operations of $101.3 million. And after you subtract the provision for loan losses, you can see that we finished the year with a record $74.0 million. In terms of our balance sheet, you can see growth in assets, deposits, loans, very strong growth in net worth, and then the increase in the dividends paid. And I'll walk you through this briefly. Graphically, you can see steady growth from 2001 in assets from 1.97 billion to 8.34 billion. Similar story in deposits, 1.75 billion to 7.53 billion. In loans, you can see from 2001, the number of outstanding loans from 1 billion up to 6.6 billion, the lion's share of which are consumer loans, which are represented in the blue bar. Very steady growth in net worth, finishing the year just shy of 800 million. And then I'll just shift to another purpose of our existence, and that's to give back to the communities in which we do business, to make sure that those communities stay strong, they stay healthy. and we stay engaged. And you can see here that we donated and contributed more than $700,000 to different nonprofits in the 4 states that we do business. Just a highlight of that activity. Also, we were able to, through different types of food bank drives through the credit union, collect $93,500 and donate that to local food pantries in those same markets. It didn't stop there. We also were able to do a very successful fundraiser for the Alaska USA Foundation, which is a separate 501c3 that focuses its efforts on philanthropic giving to needs-based organizations that support children and support military members and their families and veterans. And we received $123,000 in donations from employees and from our members. In terms of another pillar of the credit union is the people helping people principle of making sure that our individuals that are connected within the organization work towards helping members and helping those in need. And you can see here that there was nearly 3,000 hours of volunteer time of our employees helping nonprofit organizations in their communities. These are organizations that they're passionate about. We also were able to connect within school districts to be able to provide financial literacy training to over 1,100 school-aged children. And last, we were able to participate in financial reality fairs, preparing high school juniors and seniors for life post-high school and being able to manage money and understand budgeting. And we were able to reach nearly 1,100 high school juniors and seniors through those financial reality fairs. So just to summarize, it was a very fantastic year last year. The 2020 is shaping up to be a very different year. And while there is a significant amount of uncertainty due to this unprecedented situation, I want to ensure all the members that Alaska USA remains financially strong and is committed to serving the membership and supporting our communities in a safe manner. If you have any questions regarding the information provided in this presentation, or if you have any other questions for the credit union's board of directors or the management team, I would encourage you to email those to board@alaskausa.org. And please include your contact information so we can respond to you after the meeting. Chairman, that concludes my comments.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. As there is no old business from last year's meeting, I will move to new business at this time. The only item of new business is the election of directors. The nominating committee slate of candidates was announced in the October newsletter, along with the procedures for members to qualify as a candidate by the petition process. Since no members qualified as a candidate by the petition method, and as there is one candidate for each available position on the board of directors, their election is uncontested. Unless there are objections, I will instruct the secretary to cast a unanimous ballot for the election of Ron Lee, Rich Holly, and Radine Turner to the 3-year board of directors position. I want to thank the membership for over 7 decades of support and participation in the credit union. I also want to congratulate and thank my fellow volunteers and all of the employees for their service to members and contribution to Alaska USA in 2019. At this time, may I have a motion to adjourn? A second? Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for attending, and we hope to see you next year.